He opened the fridge expecting leftovers, but what he saw made him step back in silence. No food, no notes, just one small item left behind. And that item explained everything his family never told him. My name is David Martinez, and I'm about to tell you about the night that changed everything I thought I knew about my life. It was 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I remember because I kept checking my phone, waiting for my wife Sarah to call. She'd left for her mother's house 3 days ago with our two kids, Emma and Jake. Said her mom was sick, needed help. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? I was working late shifts at the warehouse, pulling doubles to save for Emma's college fund. She was starting in 2 years. Our retirement house was barely scraping by, but we made it work. At least I thought we did. That night, I came home exhausted, kicked off my boots. The house felt different, too quiet. Not the normal quiet, the kind of quiet that presses against your ears. I walked to the kitchen, hungry, tired. My hand reached for the fridge handle. I pulled it open. The light flickered on, and I froze. Empty, completely empty, not a single item. The shelves were bare, wiped clean. No milk, no eggs, no leftovers from Sunday's dinner, nothing. But that's not what made me step back. On the middle shelf, perfectly centered, was a single photograph, face down. I stood there for what felt like an hour, probably 30 seconds. My hand trembled as I reached for it. Why would someone leave a photograph in an empty fridge? I flipped it over. It was me, 10 years younger, standing in front of a house I didn't recognize. My arm was around a woman I'd never seen before. We were smiling, happy, like we knew each other well. But I had no memory of this moment, none. I turned the photo over. Written on the back in Sarah's handwriting were the words, "The truth was always there. You just never looked." My heart started pounding. I checked my phone. No messages, no missed calls. I tried calling Sarah, straight to voicemail. I called her mother. She answered on the third ring. She asked why I was calling so late. I asked if Sarah was there, if the kids were okay. There was a pause, a long pause. She told me Sarah hadn't been there. She hadn't seen her in months. The phone slipped from my hand. It hit the floor and cracked. I ran to our bedroom, pulled open drawers. Sarah's clothes were still there. The kids' rooms were untouched, toys scattered, beds unmade from 3 days ago. But something felt wrong. I opened Sarah's closet. Her suitcase was still there. If she'd gone to her mother's, she would have taken it. I checked the bathroom. Her toothbrush was still wet. She'd been here today. I went back to the kitchen and stared at the photograph. The house in the background looked familiar, but from where? I grabbed my laptop, tried a reverse image search. Nothing. I enlarged the photo, looked closer. There was a street sign in the corner. Maple something, Maple Street, Maple Avenue, Maple Drive. Then it hit me. Maple Grove Road, 2 towns over. The street I grew up on. I left when I was 18, joined the military, never looked back, or at least I thought I hadn't. I got in my truck. It was past midnight. The roads were empty. Street lights flickered like dying stars. The 40-minute drive felt like 4 hours. I pulled onto Maple Grove Road. Everything looked different, but not unfamiliar, like a dream you almost remember. House number 247. That was it, the house from the photograph. I parked across the street. The lights were off. An old sedan sat in the driveway. I sat there, trying to remember, trying to understand. Then the front door opened. A woman stepped out, mid-50s, short gray hair. She saw my truck, saw me. She froze. Her lips moved. She whispered my name. David. Her name was Margaret Chan, and she knew me. She invited me inside, made tea I didn't drink. We sat in silence. She asked if I remembered. I told her I didn't. She pulled out a photo album and placed it in front of me. Inside were dozens of photos. Me as a teenager, me in my 20s, always in that house, always with her daughter. Her name was Claire. She said we were engaged. She told me about the accident. 12 years ago, I was driving home from a late shift. Claire was with me. We were talking about our wedding. A drunk driver ran a red light and hit us on her side. Claire died instantly. I survived, barely. The head trauma erased 2 years of my memories. The doctors called it trauma-induced amnesia. My parents decided not to tell me. They thought it would be easier. Let me start fresh. I met Sarah. I married her. I had children. I built a life on forgotten pain. Sarah found the truth 6 months ago, hidden in an old attic. She couldn't live with the lie. She left me the photograph so I would search for answers. I read her letter. The kids were safe. She said she loved me, but I needed to know who I was. At sunrise, I drove home. I called Sarah. I told her I knew everything. I wasn't angry. I was grateful. The fridge is full now. Leftovers, family photos, notes from my kids. But on the middle shelf is that photograph, not as a reminder of what I lost, but of what I survived. The truth was always there. I just never looked until I did.